On this special episode, we're looking back at stories from 2024 that had people talking. Stories of the people, places, and events that make Louisville home. Thanks for joining us on Louisville This Week. I'm John Ramsey, Director of City Partnerships. On our first episode in January, we covered the annual Keepers of the Dream ceremony at the Kentucky Center for the Arts. The theme of the program was Black Joy and had performances from several community organizations. Mayor Craig Greenberg presented the 2024 Freedom Awards to Carol Jones Clay and Senator Gerald Neal.
As mayor, it is a great honor to be able to award Carol Jones Clay and Senator Gerald Neal the Keeper of the Dream Freedom Award for all they have done to strengthen our community and brighten the lives of the people who know them.
Although Aunt Carol couldn't be in attendance today, she's honored to accept this award, and I'm honored to accept it on her behalf. Aunt Carol would like to, of course, humbly give thanks first and foremost to God for letting a little Black Catholic girl from Smoketown defy the odds and live Dr. King's dream.
So, hello, Louisville. Oh, no. Hello, Louisville. All right. All right. I accept this award knowing that this is a symbol of the great work that was accomplished by those before me, those of you that toil in the vineyard each and every day now, and those that are yet to come with impactful, meaningful gains that uplift all of us as a community of need and goodwill on multiple levels.
This year's Keepers of the Dream ceremony will take place January 19th, and you can watch it right here on Metro TV. A recurring segment of Louisville This Week is the Metro Council Chronicles, hosted by our Metro Council members. One of our early council stories was with 8th District Councilman Ben Reno Weber, sharing information about the city's deflection program.
Every 911 call in Jefferson County comes to this location. We took over 1.3 million calls last year. Our two aisles here are all of our 911 call takers. Around the back of the room is all of our dispatchers. We dispatch fire and EMS for the entire county and all of LMPD. There is some secondary public safety answering points, J-Town, St. Matthews. Their calls still come here, but we transfer to them. So they dispatch theirs, but it goes just as quick as it would go across the room, it goes to them. So this is our deflection team here. We strategically put them between our call takers and our dispatchers because they could have access to both, to the point where sometimes they stand up and you don't need to communicate with them that way. So they're in the middle of the room. She's on a call now. In March of 22, we added our 911 mental health deflection program. It's worked very well. It's one of the more proud projects I've ever been on. If you'd have told me 30 years ago when I joined, started getting into public safety, that I'd be involved in a project like that, I'd have probably disagreed with you, but that's the day and age that we're living in, and it's a project that was needed, and like I said, it just keeps getting better every single day. It takes a special person to come in and do this.
Director Myman, thank you so much for taking some time to be here with us today.
No problem.
Really excited to talk to you about this program that you have been working on, deflection. But would you just start talking about what is deflection?
Yeah, so deflection is where we're taking a call, a 911 call for service that comes into our 911 center just on the other side of this wall. They triage those calls, and if it fits the criteria for some type of mental health problem, then they send it to our CTWs, or our crisis triage workers that are sitting in the 911 center, and instead of it going to the police or going to EMS, they can actually physically help them potentially with just a phone call, or they can send a mobile crisis responder out to visit them in the field.
So someone calls in, and then those calls are deflected to a different unit, either here in the at MetroSafe or in the field, or both.
Right, they start here. We've got behavioral health specialists, like I said, that are sitting right in the 911 center. They further triage that person. Many times they're able to get them the help they need just over the phone, so there doesn't even need to be a response. One example is we had a repeat caller. They would call 911 literally 300 or 400 times a day.
Oh.
And they got to the crisis triage worker, and it turned out that it was just a medication issue, and they were able to fix that, and the person doesn't call 911 anymore at all, which that ties up our 911 lines.
Oh, yeah.
When they're calling for for no reason at all, or what they think may be a problem, which really isn't. So that's just one example of how it's helped people.
So I definitely want to get into the history of it, but can you tell another example of it, maybe when it gets out into the field?
So there was an issue where there was a police officer that encountered someone having a mental health crisis. They were able to reverse the process, get the mobile crisis responder to respond to them out in the field. As they arrived on scene, obviously the police officer made sure that the person was safe to interact with. There was an armed robbery about a block away, and the officer was able to leave that and go to deal with the armed robbery, which was a successful interaction as well. But normally, or in past practices, they would have had to stay on site with that person having the mental health crisis and maybe not been able to have a successful outcome on the criminal part of it. So,
Wow.
there's so many different aspects of how it's been a successful program.
So you're really freeing up police resources by getting people better interactions.
Right. Before, the option was to either go to the hospital or to go to jail, depending on what the circumstances were. And now the people are truly being able to talk to mental health, behavioral health specialists. And the police have a crisis intervention team that's great, and they're trained very well, and they know what they need to do to interact with people in a mental health crisis. So that actually took place before we started the deflection program. We just integrated those together. So, we've had Pam Oberhausen with the police department. She's been great, and she was a part of our team that helped develop the process. She's over their CIT program.
Well, great. So talk a little bit about how this program started here in Louisville.
It was 2 days before the budget was due. We were told that there was going to be an extra couple $1 million put in our budget. So it was like, all right. And it was like, but this is what it's going to be for. So, I'd heard about programs like that. But being in the 911 world, it was a very up and coming type of process. In the very beginning stages, there were some cities across the United States that had projects like this. So it was a matter of there was a group together to develop a pilot program. Our deputy director Kelly Jones and I started to join that group. There were several people from around the city that was in that. We visited other cities throughout the United States, Austin, Texas being one of them. That's a great model. They welcomed us with open arms. They showed us their process on both the 911 as well as the mental health side of it. So, it was really that program that we somewhat saw that we wanted to inherit and start to develop and piggyback on what they were doing there. So it's got some different things. Obviously, we've got some dynamics here that they don't have, or vice versa. And we're actually doing some things here. They came and visited our center.
Oh, really?
We had a national conference that was here, and they actually came to visit and picked up some of the things that we had done different than they did, and took back to to do some of those things. Simple things like, we issue our mobile crisis responders a radio, where if they get in trouble, they have the ability to get into our 911 center and immediately ask for help. So that's something that not many centers or not many of the programs were doing. We still look at best practices. We're in groups that meet quarterly throughout the United States, and just looking at best practices and what's going on.
So what are the criteria that when a call comes into 911 that gets them put into this program?
It's more the criteria of what won't let them get into that. Okay. So it's, if they have a weapon, if they're in possession of a weapon, if they have taken any type of drugs or alcohol that require some type of medical attention, if they have some other type of medical issue that they need medical attention, which can still be diverted over eventually once they're cleared by the medical. Those are the first questions that they ask. If it doesn't meet that, then they send it over to the crisis triage worker just sitting across the room in the 911 center.
So can I call in for someone else?
So there's first party and second party callers. So you can call in with somebody, or you can call in for yourself if you're having a mental health crisis, or you can call in somebody that you're physically with.
Okay.
And that meets the criteria. What we call third party callers is where you're driving down the road, you may witness someone that's having some type of mental health issue, but you don't know if they don't have any weapons or they've been under influence of alcohol or drugs. That would require co-response. So they could still end up getting to the deflection team, but a police response would go first just to make sure that scene's safe for the people to approach.
What's happened as this program has evolved? You mentioned when we were talking earlier about where people get transported, what percentage of people do get transported, some of that information.
So we've taken over 800 calls inside the 911 center, and it's had about a 90% success rate overall. There's just some people that want to talk to the police. And that's not a bad thing, but if you want to talk to the police, you should be able to talk to the police. So about 10% of the people They want the police to come and respond to see if they can help them in any way. Out of the 800, over 500 responses in the mobile crisis response field, and over 250 of those have been transported to facilities throughout the area to get them the proper help that they need.
The ones that are not with the mobile crisis response team, what happens there?
We're able to resolve a lot of them on the phone, just get them the help they need. And what's good about what we've done is we contracted 7 county services, which has been a great partner in this entire project from the beginning. You know, they're able to potentially get them connected with help that they may have had in the past, or, you know, divert them from help that they may have had in the past that didn't work for them.
Got it.
That's been a great partnership, and they're able to view all that where we wouldn't have been able to do it. The mobile crisis response, if they're not able to be helped on the phone, they go out and make a visit, see exactly what needs they may have. It could be someone that's living on the street that, you know, may need to be put into some type of care in a facility throughout the area. So they transport them there, get them the help they need, and potentially get them into some kind of program.
Any other lessons?
We are hiring. You know, that's been big, is getting the right qualified people into the room. You know, you're sitting there, you're looking at screens all day, or you're interacting. You know, it may not be something that you're used to. So, you know, we invite people to come up and do job shadows to see if it's something that they like. We do background checks. So, you know, we because of the 911 center and the restrictions put on that, you have to meet certain qualifications to even get into that room. The behavioral health side of it, you know, we ask that you have previous qualifications, but we are working with some local colleges that if someone's got an associate's degree and wants to move into a bachelor's degree, that we can do some type of job for them as they're getting that next degree. You know, that's the thing, is perfecting the process that we've already got. We're always looking at, you know, what other cities are doing. Like I said, we're on a best practices group with several other cities across America that they meet quarterly, just, you know, through a WebEx. You know, and what may be working good in one city may not work very well here just because of the dynamics. So we're taking everything out there and just seeing exactly what we want to do to make the program better. I can't say enough about our computer-aided dispatch technicians, our dispatchers, our call takers, because it was them that put this together. You know, we just told them, hey, this is what we want to do, and you know, we created a working group, sent them out in the United States to see what was going good and what was going bad, and you know, they created this program. So, you know, my hat's off to them for, you know, taking the time out of their, you know, busy schedules to come back and help implement this new project.
Director, thank you for your time.
No problem, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you very much.
Mayor Greenberg shared his State of the City address at the LMPD Summit Wellness Center shortly after finishing his first year in office.
As we move forward, let's continue to talk and listen to one another. And together, we will continue to get the world's attention for all of the right reasons. Friends, let's think big. Let's be bold. Let's take some risks. The state of Louisville is strong. Together, we can make it stronger. We can make it safer. And we can make it healthier for everyone in this city that we all love. Thank you all very much. And Mom, I love you. Thank you.
This year's State of the City address will be delivered at the Kentucky Performing Arts Center on January 30th. Metro TV will cover it live. This December marks 101 years since the first African-American firefighters joined the Louisville Fire Department. We visited the Louisville Fire Department Museum, and Captain Donovan Sims shared the story of black firefighters in the department.
December 14th, 1923, at a time where African Americans weren't allowed to join the fire service, the city of Louisville made a bold change. 8 firemen, all African Americans, were allowed to join the fire service. Eddie Bradford, Jacob Collins, Ramsey Jackson, Otis Smith, Reginald Towton, William Adams, Antonio Blackburn, and Garland Kaufman paved the way for African American history in the fire service. Those 8 firefighters were Company Number 8. Company Number 8 was established just south of Broadway on 13th Street. With those 8 gentlemen leading the way and establishing a foundation for African Americans in the future, there were early struggles. They were segregated into their own house. They started out at Engine Company 8 with white leadership. There was a time period where, as we know, African Americans weren't allowed to do the same as their counterparts in the community. Leadership in African American roles were reluctant to be given out. Many African American firefighters had to work several years before giving any type of rank of leadership. They had to have a white counterpart. One thing that stood out to me was the application process at the time, where originally you had to have 3 citizens of good character vouch for you. Well, they changed that to 5. And it was a policeman's application that they just marked it out and just put firemen into it. And here you are trying to make what they would consider a progressive change in the city, but it seemed like they created a harder application process for these 8 individuals. I look back on that and I'm like, I laugh in a way, just because I'm like, here we are today asking minorities and females and other individuals to come apply for us, because we do need more of that diversity in our department. So for 14 years, those 8 individuals stood alone on the Louisville Fire Department. In 1937, 8 more individuals came to staff their own house, Engine Company 9. Together, these 2 houses worked hand in hand with all white houses protecting the city. For 30 years, all the houses were still segregated. All black companies, all white companies. But at larger emergency scenes, they had to work together as one for the greater good of the community. It took about 30 so years before integration came about. By that time, there already was black leadership in place. They had their own captains and lieutenants in their firehouse. In about 1954 to 1957, what they did was they would pluck a white leader from one house and allow him to work at the black house. They would take a black firefighter with no rank and plug him into a white house. So over those 2 years, they were slowly integrate houses. If you look through a lot of the history here that we have at the museum, you can read up on a lot more of that. You can see stories where it talks about how there was a lot of teamwork. There was a lot of times where all black houses and all white houses came together to make sure they were doing the job right and doing it correct and saving lives and saving property. As much as, we could read back on a lot of the negativity, you could read some of these stories and show how they worked together and worked for a common goal. That's a big thing in the fire service. We preach and live off of family. In 1979, we had our first African-American chief of the fire service, Larry Bonifon, who rose through the ranks. He came through, I believe, the fire prevention rank and was appointed our chief in 1979, which is a huge deal, like even in today's times. And we've had plenty of other African-Americans reach higher status, as Chief Bonifon is the highest ranking African-American in fire department history. The Louisville Fire Department has served the city of Louisville for 165 years, and 100 of those began with 8 individuals who stepped out and took a rocky path and made it as flat as possible for someone like me. I was approached by an African American that saw something in me and was like, you should join the fire service. I had no idea what the fire service was, other than there goes a fire truck down the street. To be given an opportunity because someone else decided to take a step forward at a time where, like I said, African Americans weren't allowed to do the things as their counterparts were. I could not be more thankful. In just 10 years, here I am standing as a captain on the Louisville Fire Department.
In February, the Louisville Orchestra made history with their first Grammy win.
For Best Classical Instrumental Solo, the nominees are Robert Black, Andy Akiho, Yuja Wang and Teddy Abrams, Seth Parker Woods, Curtis Stewart,
and the Grammy goes to The American Project, Yuja Wang, Teddy Abrams.
Thank you all so much. And first of all, I have to say a huge congratulations to the incredible Yuja Wang, who soloed on this extraordinary album. Yuja is one of the most talented musicians on the face of the earth right now, a person who's drawn so many people to the music that we play, and I know she sends her very best. A giant congratulations to all of my colleagues at the Louisville Orchestra, an orchestra that is famous for its innovation, putting out so many albums of living composers since it was founded in 1937. I'm so proud of everybody at the orchestra and to the people of Louisville, to Graham Parker, our chief executive, to David Frost, the producer on this album, and to everybody that made this all happen. Thank you very, very much.
Also in February, Mayor Greenberg started his weekly press conference series.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all so much for coming. Today kicks off our first Mayor's Weekly Update. We're going to have a weekly press conference every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. And as I've said from the beginning of my campaign, I believe in transparency and accountability. The people of Louisville want and deserve that from their metro government They want and deserve that from their mayor. They want and deserve that from their Metro Council and every other public servant across our city.
You can watch the mayor's weekly press conferences live on Metro TV's YouTube and Facebook pages. In March, we spotlighted women-owned businesses during Women's History Month. One of the businesses was a Nulu business, Cultured Cheese and Charcuterie.
I wanted to take the fanciness and the fear out of charcuterie. The word charcuterie actually just means cured meat, but people have come accustomed to calling them charcuterie boards with all the cheese and the vegetables and fruit on them. So really for me, a basic charcuterie board, you have typically 3 different types of cheeses: a soft cheese, a semi-soft and a hard cheese, a couple of meats, and usually like a fruit, pickled item, a dried fruit, and then maybe a sweet. We can also do custom boards without cheese, even if people wanted that. We can do veggie boards, dessert boards, but we try to make it more of a meal and a little bit more refreshing because you got the salty cheese and the salty meats. We have a variety of things that go on there that turn it into a well-balanced meal. At Cultured, we employ 8 to 9 people. We do drink specials every day, and then we have live music on the patio when it's nice. I am from Glasgow, Kentucky. I grew up on a dairy farm, which is where the cheese is made. I had had an idea to do something like this, to stay in Louisville and to expose people to smaller family farms and to the product that the family was making. Finally had the opportunity to sit down and work on the business plan and signed a lease February 2020. COVID happened in March. Then we opened anyway in September. Customer service and being around people and working with people has always been my favorite thing about any job I've ever done. I knew that I wanted to be cheese heavy, which is why our boards are more cheese than they are meat. And so since that was my knowledge, my first business plan was just going to be a little small, like carry-out cheese shop bodega, maybe a couple of wines, and then it just kept expanding, and then we built the patio, and then it became a restaurant. I'd never worked in a restaurant or a bar before opening one. When I started kind of freaking out and thinking like, I don't know how to do this. I think just speaking to people and networking and then just leaning on the people around you, having a solid plan and understanding that it is going to go with ups and downs and know that it won't always be in the down. Keep the main goal in mind and why you're doing it is not to necessarily think that you're gonna make money. It's just to do something that actually feels good every day.
Mayor Greenberg kicked off his Thrive by 5 initiative, unveiling a new pathway to universal pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds in Louisville.
Eyes are watching, ears are listening.
Imagine a future where every child in Louisville, regardless of their background, regardless of their circumstance, has access to high-quality early childhood education.
Are you ready?
So today, I am so proud to announce the creation of Thrive by 5 Louisville. Thrive by 5 Louisville is a new, independent, nonprofit 501c3 organization that will create a pathway to free quality pre-K for every 3-year-old and every 4-year-old in Louisville.
This is not merely a dream, it's a vision that we all in this room and outside this room can turn into a reality.
Facts are very clear. Children who attend high-quality preschool are more likely to graduate from high school, more likely to earn more money in their careers, and more likely to live longer, healthier lives.
And I really believe that we have the opportunity to put that stake in the ground and make a tremendous impact in Louisville. We can no longer dip our toes in the water, guys. We got to do this, and I believe that we can. Our children, families, educators, and the community of early learning centers are a precious, precious resource in this community, and they deserve a huge level of investment.
I ran for mayor to lead our city in a new direction. That means doing things that have never been done here before, and looking at what can make the biggest impact and bring positive change for generations to come, to improve these kids' lives and their kids' lives. Making investments that will have a ripple effect with proven results that will make our city safer, stronger, and healthier. And we can do that by investing in our children.
In March, the Louisville Free Public Library partnered with Scripps National Spelling Bee to host a regional competition.
That is correct. Congratulations. You are the 2024 Louisville Regional Spelling Bee champion and will represent the Louisville Free Public Library at the 2024 Scripps National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. in May. Kate?
Be happy!
You can watch the entire Spelling Bee competition right here on Metro TV next week. The Louisville Downtown Partnership presented their annual State of the Downtown program and unveiled a 10-year vision plan for the future of downtown.
Downtown is the most important neighborhood in our entire city. It's the one neighborhood that truly connects us all, where everyone, regardless of whether you live in the west, the south, the east, the center of the city, it's a place where you can come to have fun, to explore, to work, to see athletic and cultural and entertainment events. There is so much for everyone in downtown Louisville. It is truly the glue that connects us all. And that's why, for me, it is so important. My vision, put simply, for downtown Louisville is that downtown Louisville is nothing less than the most vibrant, cleanest, greenest, most unique, authentic, energetic, and safest neighborhood in our entire city. That's what we all want in this room. That's what everyone in Louisville deserves for their downtown. Downtown is also one of our key focuses. We're working with our friends and partners in the General Assembly as they wrap up their session and are in conference committee right now, debating the future of the state's budget. We got great news last week that the state Senate's budget included a $100 million investment for projects in downtown Louisville. But we will use those funds, if they actually materialize, as we hope they do, to partner them, to leverage those with additional investments from Metro government, with federal funds, with private funds, with philanthropic funds, with corporate funds, to truly accelerate the transformation of downtown.
Bring a friend downtown. Have that friend bring a friend. Then say something publicly about your positive, amazing experience. And do it again. And have your friend do it again. And keep doing it. It really does take all of us. Our downtown will be thriving and its strongest when we understand that we are all in it together. That not only do we need to show up for each other because we're social beings, but that our community isn't truly a community unless we're all playing a role. So find a way to contribute, to show up, and to play a part.
The Louisville Downtown Partnership will share their 2025 State of the Downtown on March 27th at Louisville Marriott Downtown. You can watch it right here on Metro TV. Everyone remembers the tractor-trailer accident on the 2nd Street Bridge, but do you recall that Cisco made a $20,000 donation to the Louisville Fire Department in honor of the rescue of their truck driver following that accident?
Call the professionalism, the skill, divine intervention, all of the above. It is an absolute miracle.
It's been 3 weeks now since people all around the world saw the heroism of Louisville firefighters, saw the heroism of firefighter Bryce Carden and his colleagues pull off an incredible rescue.
We all watched in awe of the bravery, the professionalism, the skill, as one of our trucks and one of our family members was dangling 75% off the bridge.
A lot of people have seen one or two of the people that were involved in that rescue, but I encourage you, talk to all of them because it involved every single one of them. The men and women that were on the ropes, the ones that were on the trucks, the ones that were in the boats. So many different parts have to come together to make that successful.
So at Cisco, we know one of the best ways that we can show our appreciation is bring some food to the community together. We have the opportunity to present Mayor Greenberg and Chief O'Neill with a $20,000 check to go towards the annual fundraiser in Gala. We have the opportunity and privilege to deliver over 1,500 pounds of food to 2 of the local fire departments here in Louisville to keep them in stock with all the good things they need to be able to do the great work that they do.
We're appreciating our first responders, specifically the Louisville firefighters who saved one of our own. So we're just out here having fun, cooking up some good food. Saying thanks.
We have slip-on ribeyes, we've got bacon wrapped chicken thighs.
And we'll have an opportunity as well to celebrate a meal.
Enjoy, guys. Let me know if you need anything.
We're also donating gift cards to each and every one of the members on the fire department team to enjoy local Cisco with their family to be able to go out and celebrate.
During one of Mayor Greenberg's weekly press conferences in April, he mentioned that the Kentucky General Assembly had earmarked $616 million for Louisville.
On Friday, we celebrated more than $616 million that were in the final budget bills that came out of the Kentucky General Assembly to invest right here in Louisville. This historic bipartisan supported funding was made available through House Bills 1 and House Bill 6. For months, My administration and I have been in many conversations with folks in the General Assembly, and we've talked about crucial investments that could help move Louisville in the new direction that we all want. And together, working together, having many conversations, we have now delivered results. Results that will make Louisville a safer, stronger, and healthier city for everyone to call home. I am so grateful to the leadership of the Kentucky House and Kentucky Senate, to President Robert Stivers, House Speaker David Osborne, Senator Julie Rocky Adams, Senator Gerald Neal, Representative Jason Nemes, the entire Jefferson County delegation, and every member of the General Assembly who helped make this happen. Because of their support, this $616 million, including $413 million in funding for our University of Louisville, an amazing new over $400,000 investment in Thrive by 5, the new initiative that we just announced a couple of weeks ago that's creating a pathway to make universal pre-K a reality. We are truly going to change this city. And I know that the other $200 million of funding is going to truly revitalize our downtown. It's going to improve our parks, our infrastructure, community organization, our cultural arts organizations, all of which are so critical to building a safer, stronger, and healthier city. This is a great foundation for our city. And let me be clear, this work in a bipartisan fashion with the General Assembly is just the beginning. We are just getting started. I am so excited for future sessions as well to continue this historic level of investment in our city.
Millions of people looked up to the sky in April to watch the solar eclipse, and the Louisville Metro Parks provided the perfect place for sky gazing at the Iroquois Park overlook during the total eclipse of the park.
Total eclipse of the park. We worked with the Olmsted Conservancy to come up with a theme for this. That's what we came up with. So pretty exciting. We did this in 2017 was the last time we had a total eclipse up here. We had, I'd say probably 150 people up here. I think we ordered 600 sets of glasses, and we're down to the bare minimum. I think we probably got at least 500 people up here, and they're still filling in.
I cannot think of a better place to celebrate this eclipse other than here at Iroquois Park at the Northern Overlook. Total eclipse of a park. I couldn't be more proud of our park staff and Olmsted Conservancy.
We live right here, so we came out.
The first one. There's a lot to do in this park. A lot of people parked at the golf course and walked up the steps right next to the gate.
This won't happen in like another 20 years. Why not?
So they're going to start having shows out at the amphitheater towards the end of April. We'll have a press conference where we'll announce the full schedule. I can't think of a better entryway to spring and summer season.
A couple of Metro TV producers traveled to Indiana to experience totality during the eclipse and shared some of their pictures. Gallapalooza came to Metro Hall with a horse by Louisville artist Monica Mahoney.
My family's artistic, all of them.
I think it's in my blood. We had great art classes. I went to St. Francis in Goshen, which now is called Francis Parker. We did art in almost every class, really. I made this, it was a batik pillow. It looks rough now, but I made this like in 2nd grade, and I still have it. And my dad would frame my art, like, so I have a lot of my like childhood art in frames, and that makes a difference, you know, when you're a family. I majored in art. I went to the Broward College, but I majored in art. And then after school, I just like immediately started making things and came back to Louisville, my hometown, and, you know, started doing work. And I haven't really had jobs. I've just been able to like do commissions and make art since college. People know me as that I'm open to different materials and projects. Like Steve Wilson and Laura Lee Brown. Steve has brought me a lot of like fun projects, and one of the first ones was he brought me this Lincoln Town Car limo, and they were opening up the 21C Museum Hotel, and they're like, Monica, do something with this limo and we'll use it for the hotel. So I like racked my brain of like, what could it be? What could I put on this? And it's a huge car. But then I was busting open a pomegranate, and I was like, well, this is beautiful. You know, a pomegranate is so beautiful. And then I researched all the like the history of pomegranates and art. And some people think it was like the tree of life was a pomegranate tree. It's kind of interesting for the hotel because it has this really challenging, interesting art. And so it's like, it's not a typical hotel, you know, it's like, it's a little different. So I decided to make the car like a pomegranate. And so I used thousands of glass gems, red glass gems. And yeah, I never thought I would like decorate a limousine. We're bringing back Galapalooza, and we would love for you to do a horse. So then I jumped into researching what to do on the horse. And so I researched all that had been done before, decided that nobody had depicted the backside of Churchill Downs, and then nobody had depicted night racing either. And I love the excitement of like a neck and neck final part of a race, so I depicted that as a night shot. And then I depicted kind of a more quiet, intimate scene from the backside of a groom, like washing a horse after it's exercising, and the steam's coming off the horse and it's all sudsy. It took me at least like a month to just do the research and kind of land on what to depict, and then it took me about a month of paint, like solid painting, because it's a lot of surface. I was inspired by like the 70s and 80s, the iconic derby glasses and the way they looked. Like I loved, like that was my era growing up, you know, so I like before computers and when things were just done by hand, drawn by hand, and then silk screens. Like I loved all the 70s and 80s colors and imagery. So the depiction of the night racing is kind of a little more like a silkscreen with blocky colors and unusual colors and not a lot of detail. But then when I got to the backside, it wanted more detail. You know, the horse like being washed, just there were some great details there. And so, I just feel very fortunate to be able to make things for my living, you know, like that I get to work with my hands and my mind to like create things, and I love my community. I love Louisville, and I feel very supportive of the community, and I feel very supported by the community, so I feel really lucky.
Brightside will be ramping up for another round of Galapalooza horses very soon. The Kentucky State Parks celebrated their 100th anniversary in 2024. Events were scheduled in various parks throughout the state, including a riding retreat by Kentucky Poet Laureate Silas House at Dale Hollow State Park.
2024 is the 100th anniversary of Kentucky State Parks, and we have a year-long celebration for our park system and the contributions that the parks have made to Kentucky. This was a two-day event here at Dale Hollow Park with Kentucky Poet Laureate Silas House graciously offered to do a series of writing workshops. We had one at Cumberland Falls in January, and we're here this weekend at Dale Hollow Resort Park. And Silas has quite a following across the state and across the nation for that matter, but folks were very excited to come here and take part in his writing workshop, which was a very enjoyable and learning experience. It was great. And
I grew up going to the Kentucky State Parks, and I want more people to know about them. People are often asking me to do public workshops, and so it just seemed like it made a lot of sense to combine those two things as Poet Laureate. One of the things I want to do as Poet Laureate is just represent Kentucky as well as I can, and I think one of the things that represents us best is our Kentucky park system. The Poet Laureate for the Commonwealth of Kentucky is meant to represent the arts of the state, and to some degree represent the governor's interest in the arts. We're really lucky to have a governor who cares deeply about the arts and all elements of the arts, and so I'm just so proud to be a part of Team Kentucky in that way. I've written new curriculum for Kentucky schools that will allow teachers to teach students how to interview the elders in their family, record oral histories. It's a way to get kids to talk to the older people in their families. I've done this series of workshops. I'm doing a podcast that offers writing lessons for free to anybody that wants to hear them. So teachers can use them, or just somebody who wants to write can use them. And we're also working on an effort to recognize writers in the counties they're from, to put up signs so you know where the Kentucky writers are from. Well, as I do a series of workshops, I'm trying to touch on the foundational elements of creative writing, and sense of place and characterization certainly are two of them. I mean, you can't separate place from the state parks. You know, it's just when you come to the state parks, you get a sense of our natural beauty in Kentucky, but also our culture overall. And that's what sense of place is, not only the natural elements of a place, but also the cultural elements. So it's just the perfect place to teach that. And in teaching characterization, it allows me to talk about the way that a lot of what we love about coming to a state park is being with other people. It's about relationships, you know, and so I'm teaching writers how to build vivid characters on the page that the reader can get to know. I grew up very near two state parks, Cumberland Falls and Levi Jackson. So we utilize those parks all the time. But where we went for vacation was Dale Hollow Lake, which is you know, one of our most beautiful state resort parks. And it has a lodge that I think has the best view in Kentucky. And so I always want to encourage people to come here. When I think about Dale Hollow, I think about, you know, my whole family. It's my family history. It's where we were together the most. We were camping together for 2 weeks, you know, and sort of close together, and spending the day skiing and swimming and cooking big meals and cleaning everything up together, cleaning fish, etc. So it's just like the best family memories for me are associated with Dale Hollow Lake. So to be here teaching a writing workshop and using some of my own writing about Dale Hollow, I've really enjoyed doing that. Well, I think the Kentucky State Park system was way ahead of its time in that it was ecotourism before we had such a thing as ecotourism, you know, because when you come to a Kentucky State Park, the biggest element of it for me is just the natural world that you're able to utilize. You know, here at Dale Hollow, for instance, you can be out on the lake swimming, fishing, skiing, or you can be hiking up in the mountains, these incredible overlooks. There's a wonderful cave here that you can tour at Dale Hollow. So I think that it's a way to get in touch with the natural world. And most of our state parks, you know, offer different levels of how much you want to do that. Like you can be more in wild camping and do that, you know, out in the mountains. And in some state parks, you can be in a luxurious lodge. Most of them, you can have either of those, you know, that you want. You sort of choose your own adventure.
The parks are so important to the communities in which they're located, but they're also important not just when folks want to get away for a few days and take advantage of the beauty of the state parks, But the parks also step up in times of need through natural disasters. When we've had tornadoes and flooding, the parks have opened their doors for families to come in and stay. They provide an amazing resource for the communities in so many ways, and we're just so proud of our state parks and those that are employees for the parks and just all that they mean to Kentucky.
The whole city celebrated the 150th Kentucky Derby, and Metro TV was on hand to cover the excitement throughout the city.
We are here for the 61st Kentucky Derby Festival Great Steamboat Race, sponsored by our great partner, Shepherd Insurance. And it is a phenomenal day to see everyone getting on their board. They're already decked out in derby attire, lots of pink, lots of hats, lots of fascinators. What a great day to have a boat race. River conditions look fantastic, and who knows who's going to win.
I'm waving at all my fans.
The whole festival is filled with pride, but to see the folks lining the riverbanks on both sides of the river, they're having parties in their backyard. It's just really exciting to see folks come out. And not just that, but the people on the boat. We have about 600 folks on the boat partying it up. We've got music playing, we've got drinks and food, and people are just really happy to be out enjoying the weather.
This is our toy stand, and we do carts and stands, and we sell all kinds of toys for all different ages. We're actually from Dallas, Texas. We travel around, but this is one of our bigger days. We did Thunder, and we're here for the entire chow wagon, so yeah, it's been really great.
I always come every single year, and it's just a blast.
Having a good time, eating the good food.
These look really big.
I don't know what turkey they came off of, but they are pretty big. So we get them, they're already smoked. This is our char broiler, and we just get them a little crispy on the outside. That way they're crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside.
They love it. They can't wait to get down here. We bring our clients out today to have lunch at the chow wagon. Corn dog and fries, chicken tenders and fries. That's pretty much their favorite. Every year, this is our stop. As soon as we come in the gate, this is where they pull me to.
Almost every year that I buy pins, I get a gold pin. You have to register your pins, all your pins, not just your gold pins, and in order to qualify for the weekly drawings. But the gold pin allows you to qualify for the grand prize drawings, which will happen on the Friday after Derby.
You can get a Philly cheesesteak, a cheeseburger, and also have like a steak loaded fry. I'm at the chow wagon, and I will be here for 9 days. Tuned is my grandmother, and every day when we came over, she had 13 children, and every day when we came over there, she cooked and she played a tune for us. So we called her Tunes. So that's why it's named after her. And plus, she taught me everything that I know in the kitchen. Come out and enjoy.
The annual Mosaic Awards pay tribute to immigrants who have made a difference in our community. This past year, Director of the Office of Immigrant Affairs, Amos Aziriamana, was one of the honorees.
I appreciate Louisville for embracing me, and I appreciate the various community organizations that have supported me in this journey thus far. This award to me means that every refugee who finds home here in Louisville finds hope. Hope to dream, to inspire others and make an impact in this community and in our world. So join me and let us continue to work together towards a future where everyone feels welcomed and a future where compassion, empathy, understanding, and belonging prevail. Thank you. Murakoze Chan.
The PGA Championship returned to Louisville for the first time in 10 years. Michael Block, John Rahm, Louisville native Justin Thomas, and golf legend Tiger Woods were just some of the players in town for the event.
2024 PGA champion Xander Schauffele is with us now. Xander, first of all, congratulations. How's it feel to hoist your first Wanamaker trophy?
It feels amazing. Yeah, just a wide range of emotions for me.
Metro TV covered the Zoofari fundraiser at the Louisville Zoo live this year.
Hi, welcome to the 43rd annual Zoofari at Louisville Zoo. We are watching all these pretty people arrive at the Louisville Zoo, here to have a fantastic evening celebrating all things animal and all things conservation and all things fun. And I'm here with the Zoofari chair, Tara Ward. What are guests going to experience tonight, Tara?
Guests have a tremendous night in front of them. We have live animal encounters throughout a couple exhibits in the zoo with cocktails and past hors d'oeuvres. And then we have a really exciting dinner program for people tonight. We're going to have a live auction where there are animal adoptions for some people who might want to put their names on some exhibits and support the animals throughout the year. But we also have exciting things like rare bourbons and trips around the world. And the night will conclude with live bands, a bourbon pull, silent auction, more food, and more fun.
Okay, Ron, while you're training, I'm going to just work the mic, and you can tell us a little bit about. You can tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, so, one thing we do here with almost all the animals at the zoo is we want to develop a close relationship with them, so we can check them up close for health screenings, maybe give them a hand injection if they need a shot for some reason, and just to have a good rapport with them. So we just are doing a little preliminary training with Sonny D here. He is kind of newer to this, and he's like checking us out. So he may not be used to a camera on a stick. So this is good practice for him. So we'll see what he does. I have grapes.
So we've got a lot going on here this summer, and some new visitors from down under. You want to tell us a little bit about what we've got going on?
We can finally announce that we have Daruk and Talawi.
Talawi,
thank you. And they're here. These are koalas. Koalas haven't been here in 23 years. They were only here for a very short period of time previously. Our goal is to keep them here. We have a new red panda area, and we have orchestra coming back, and that is a big, big deal. I think the community is ready. We're very fortunate to have great partners in Teddy Abrams and Graham Parker, and we're just really, really thrilled. So we're going to have June Zoofari, July orchestra, and August Brew at the Zoo. Leads right into Boo at the Zoo. And it's going to be just a thrilling next, 6-7 months.
Well, thank you for taking the time tonight. And let's invite everybody out for next Zoofari, because they can't be here right now. So go ahead and invite everybody back for next Zoofari.
You know what? We don't want anybody to miss out. Come on out. But this year we sold out. So when Zoofari comes around next year, you better get your tickets early.
Thank you so much. Go enjoy yourself. Go raise lots of money for us. So Dan said it. It's a great night here at the Louisville Zoo for Zoofari, our 43rd annual Zoofari. Please check it out next year. Get your tickets early, because it does sell out. And like we said, we're going back to our roots of having a formal event. And don't forget to watch On the Wild Side, the Louisville Zoo show on Metro TV. We'll see you later. I'm your host, Kyle Shepard.
And if you go to the zoo, you can now see some koalas.
Hi, we're down here in the Australia area, and we are at our very new exhibit, our 2 koala bears, which you have seen around town, all over billboards and on the radio and on the TV, because they're our summer campaign. So meet Talawi and Daruk, and I'm here with Haley Lindo, one of our keepers, longtime keepers here. What is the #1 thing that people should know about Talawi and Daruk?
So the #1 thing that you should know is that these guys sleep 18 to 20 hours a day. So most of the times when you come to visit them, they will be sleeping, and that's because they eat eucalyptus. That's all that they eat with their diet. So it doesn't give them a lot of extra energy. So most of the time they will be sleeping. You may see them kind of a bit more active sometimes in the mid to late afternoon, but most of the time they will be just sleeping in their perches.
So we want to be a koala when we grow up, basically.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about their personalities. Talawi is like you have an owie, like a boo-boo. Talawi and Daruk. And those have meaning, too, in the Australian language. Can you tell me what their names mean first?
Talawi means it's based off of a bush, a plant out in Australia, the old man salt bush. So that's where his name comes from. And then Daruk is just an Aboriginal name. So that's kind of where his name kind of originated. But that's where their names come from. And their personalities, they're both very sweet boys. Especially Talawi, he's a little bit more relaxed. He does like to jump some. We see him liking to jump from perch to perch. Whereas Daruk likes to stick his legs out when he sleeps. So there's some little unique things about them.
And when you're down here at the exhibit in Koala and you're facing the exhibit, Talawi is going to be on your right and Daruk is going to be on your left. That's pretty standard, so that you'll know who is who when you're looking at them. Koalas are marsupials, and I think we all would like a reminder about what a marsupial actually is.
So marsupial just means that they've got a pouch. So a lot of times when you think of marsupials, you're going to think of kangaroos, wallabies, possums. But a koala is also a marsupial. A lot of times people say koala bear, but they are not a bear, they are marsupials. The unique fact about them being a marsupial, though, is that their pouch is a little bit different. So whereas a kangaroo pouch opens up, theirs actually faces towards their hind legs and opens out that way. So that's a unique thing to them.
Daruk and Talawi are on loan from the Australian government because they're like ambassadors to the States. And we got them from the San Diego Zoo, which has a cooperative program with the Australian government. So they are on long-term loan from us. But tell us, you have to do some fun things to give data back to the Australian government. And one of those things is involving their waste.
Yes, so we actually count their poop every day. They have little pellets that come out, and we count those up, and then we weigh them too. So we have a weight versus the number of pellets that they poop every day. And we send that back to them just so that they can monitor their health. It actually gives them a lot of detail as to what's going on in their bodies and how they are eating and what they're doing. So we have to do that for at least 6 months just to make sure that they're doing well and adjusting to their new environment here.
You talked about that they eat exclusive eucalyptus and that doesn't give them a lot of energy, and then that's why they sleep a lot. Eucalyptus doesn't grow in Kentucky, so where do we get our eucalyptus and what kind of varieties are there?
Eucalyptus is actually very unique. There's over 600 different species of eucalyptus, which is something very interesting that we learned. We get our eucalyptus twice a week from Arizona. There is a farm out there that boxes it up for us and sends it to us via airplane. So we have to go pick it up from the airport. They will hold our eucalyptus, we'll come pick it up from them, and then we service it here. Eucalyptus can actually turn very toxic very quickly, so it's very important on how we take care of our eucalyptus to make sure we get it to them. Most animals don't eat it because it is toxic, but they can actually taste the toxicity and they know when it gets too toxic for even them, which is a really unique thing. So there's over 600 different species. We get about 8 to 10 species per shipment. That way every bundle that you see in with them is a different species of eucalyptus. They're not eating the same thing every day. So that way it gives them variety in case they may not like one of those species, they can have something different to eat.
We like to wrap our segments with talking to the keeper a little bit about how long they've been here and what is the favorite part about your job. So Haley, how long have you been at Glacier Run in general, but how long have you been at the zoo?
So I've been in Glacier Run for a little over 2 years, and then I've been at the zoo for over 7 years. I worked in the commissary, I've worked in our gorilla area. So one of the best parts about the job is obviously the animals. That's why we always come, or why keepers tend to do what we do, is because of the animals, but also educating the people about the animals, seeing someone light up about learning something about our animals. That's one of the best things that you see when you're out here, is teaching them and showing them the animals that you love and having them also grow to love those animals.
Remember, Talawi is on the right, Daruk is on the left. You can come hang out with them daily at the Australian area at the zoo. And their keeper talks at 2:45 every day. So come learn more about our 2 new favorite Australians.
Each week, Louisville This Week is bringing you the stories that matter most to our community. Thank you for watching. Please share Metro TV with your friends and ask them to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or X. And download our Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire TV apps. Have a wonderful week.